There is a moment almost everyone knows. It's late, you're lying in bed, and your brain quietly opens a calculator rent, the card payment, that thing that broke last week. You didn't invite this. It just shows up, uninvited, every few nights, and steals the one thing you needed most sleep. You've tried the apps. You've built the spreadsheet at 1 a.m. with real determination. And somehow, a few weeks later, you're back where you started. But there's one small setup, something you could finish in 15 minutes that makes that late-night calculator stop opening for good. So let me tell you exactly what it is. Right now. Here it is. You make your money move into savings automatically the same day it arrives, before you ever see it sitting in checking. That's the whole habit. Pay yourself first on autopilot on payday. And it works so fast because it isn't really about the dollars. It's that you stop making the same exhausting decision over and over. Picture a normal payday. Money lands, and now you have to decide. Save this week or wait until things feel steadier? Is it smart to save when the car's making that noise again? Maybe next check. Maybe after the holidays. That's a tiny negotiation with yourself, replayed every couple of weeks for years. That's the actual wait. It was never about the number, it's the deciding. Think of your mind like a browser with 50 tabs open. Every unpaid bill is a tab. Should I move money this week is another. I really need to get serious about my finances someday is a tab you never close. Just minimize. None of them do anything useful, they just drain your battery, which is why you can feel exhausted by money on a day you didn't spend $1. Automation closes those tabs from the background permanently. There's a real term for this decision fatigue, and it's well studied. Your capacity for good judgment isn't bottomless, and it drains fastest around choices loaded with fear. Money choices carry the most fear of all. So, by the time you sit down to save, you're running on empty, and the easiest choice is to do it later. Automation deletes that moment. You decide once, on a calm day, and never have to re-win that argument again. Now, the proof. Every year, Vanguard studies retirement accounts across millions of American workers, comparing two setups, one where employees must actively enroll to save, and one where they're automatically enrolled unless they opt out. Same jobs, same paychecks. In the opt-in plans, roughly 2/3 of workers actually saved. In the auto-enrolled plans, that jumped past 90%. Nothing changed about income or discipline, only whether the decision was already made for them. Setting up your own automatic transfer hands you that exact same edge. Here's why it matters emotionally, not just financially. When saving is a choice you make every payday becomes a small test of whether you're responsible. Miss one, and guilt compounds faster than any interest rate. But when the transfer runs on its own, the guilt has nowhere to land. The responsible thing already happened weeks ago, and now it just keeps happening while you live your life. Let me make this real. Meet Priya, a teacher paid every 2 weeks, whose savings plan used to just be a feeling-good check. Save a little, tight check. Don't. She changed exactly one thing. Opened a separate savings account and scheduled an automatic $200 transfer for the morning after each payday. No budget, no tracking. $200 every 2 weeks is $5,200 a year, saved without one act of willpower. She also refused to leave that money earning nothing. Right now, in 2026, the average savings account pays about 1/3 of 1%, while strong online high-yield accounts pay near 4%. On $5,000, that's the difference between earning $19 a year and earning close to $200, 10 times the reward for parking it in the right place. And this window matters. The Fed has held rates around 3.5, 3.75% through the first half of 2026, and savings rates track that closely. When the Fed cuts, these 4% offers drift down with it. The best time to lock this in is now. After 1 year, Priya has just over $5,300. After 5 years, near $29,000. After 10 years, almost $64,000, with close to $12,000 of that being money the bank paid her, not money she earned at work. No raise did this. She decided once and let it run. One detail matters more than it sounds. Put the money somewhere slightly inconvenient to reach. Priya's savings account is at a different bank than her checking on purpose. That small friction, a day or two to transfer back, is often enough to stop an impulse withdrawal. And name the account something that means something safety net, not savings too. Your brain resists spending a pile it's already named. Setting this up takes one sitting. Open a new savings account, ideally online, paying near 4%. Set a recurring transfer for the day after payday. Pick a number that feels almost too small to matter. Name the account. Close the laptop. Feed that automation into 3 buckets. In order. First, a starter cushion before even retirement, because it's what actually kills the late-night dread. Just your first few $100, then your first $1,000. Over half of Americans say they couldn't cover a $1,000 emergency from savings, and that's not a character flaw willpower keeps losing to flat tires and vet bills. Once that exists, keep building toward 3 months of expenses. At $100 a week, you get there in under 2 years without ever forcing yourself to save. Second, retirement, especially with an employer match, which is free money. In 2026, you can put up to $24,500 into a 401 and $7,500 dead more into an IRA, though nobody needs to hit those ceilings. What matters is starting and letting time work. Automate $250 a month into a broad market fund, and at the market's roughly 7% long-run real return, that becomes about $43 in 10 years, $130,000 in 20, and just over $300,000 in 30, even though you only contributed $90,000 of it yourself. A target date fund does this on autopilot. Your paycheck moves the money without you, and the fund invests it without you. Timing is the closest thing to a warning here. Wait 10 years to start that same $250 a month plan, and instead of $300,000 in 30 years, you get about $130, 000 in 20 a delay, that costs roughly $175,000 in growth, not contributions. Start something imperfect today rather than waiting for perfect later. While you're at it, put fixed bills rent, electric, phone, subscriptions on autopay. Every due date in your head is another tab draining your battery, and every late fee is money burned for being busy. Just glance at what went out once a month so nothing sneaky rides along. If you're carrying credit card debt, automation becomes defense. Cards in 2026 often charge over 20% a year, so an ignored balance grows while you sleep. Automate a payment above the minimum, even an extra $25 or $50 aimed at your highest rate card, firing the same day every month. Third bucket. The things you actually want. A trip, a couch, a holiday cushion, a small automatic transfer into an account named Portugal or Holidays, filling quietly all year, so spending it later comes with zero guilt. Now the objections. I don't earn enough, the amount barely matters. The habit is the asset. Automate $25 if that's what fits. You're proving to yourself the money can leave, and the world doesn't end. What about overdrafts? Schedule the transfer for the day after payday, never mid-month, and keep a small buffer. I like control automation doesn't take control away. It lets your calmest self decide on behalf of your tired, payday self. That's more control, not less. For irregular income, meet Omar, a freelance editor who automates a percentage instead of a fixed amount. 15% of every payment sweeps into savings automatically, so big months save more, and slow months don't break anything. One more move: automatic escalation. Once a year, nudge the transfer up slightly, maybe 1% of pay. You'll barely feel it, especially around raise season. And in the Vanguard data, this small yearly bump pushed nearly half of savers to a higher rate without anyone gritting their teeth. And for couples, automation ends a lot of money fights. One shared account, one agreed number. Automatic transfers from both sides every payday. Nobody nags, nobody tracks the other person, and the resentment that builds in the gaps between paychecks has nothing left to feed on. If you feel like you've missed your window, you haven't. Starting late beats never starting by a margin that isn't close. Here's what the first month feels like. The first transfer stings a little. By the third or fourth, you stop noticing it's gone because your spending quietly reshapes around what's left. A few weeks in, you check that account almost by accident, and there's a number in it you never had to fight for. Around 6 in 10 Americans say money worries have cost them sleep. That's the real cost of running finances on willpower, not the savings you skip, but the sleep, the calm, the presence with people you love. Automate the first move your money makes, and you're not just building a balance, you're compounding your own peace of mind, one payday at a time, until one ordinary night, the weight simply isn't there anymore. Tell me in the comments, what's the one automatic move you're setting up today? Or the one you wish you'd made sooner?